I remember it like it was yesterday. The weekend after all of the riots that happened in Charlottesville, and everybody was on edge. And I was rushing to get to work because I had this major presentation, and I was speeding. I was doing 71 and a 55. The cop was there on the corner. He got me. He pulled me over. We went through all of the standards: license and registration. My wallet, my phone, everything was under these stack of papers, and I started to reach real quickly. And in that moment where I reached, I saw him jump. And I saw it and I froze. My body got hot. I got tense. My arm started shaking. He had the most dead-eyed look on me. And I knew I couldn't pull back quickly because that could scare him. And we just kind of both froze. I'm still here. But a lot of people aren't. And that's a problem. And in this episode, we talked about it. And I hope that we're not the last ones to talk about it. I hope that anybody that watches this particular episode, if no others, talks more. And then maybe somebody takes action. But let's start here.
As well. But like, so I say that, so like, I know that, okay, if I'm working in the banking industry, so I have a lot of white men around me. And I know that they've seen me there for a few years and everything, but at the same time, going back to police brutality and how I view police, I could walk down the street right now and I'm not looking any policeman in the eye. I just don't do that because it could happen to me. It really could.
I mean, everybody
it don't matter.
also say that before they die.
Exactly. It's like, it doesn't matter who it is, like, because you can have the most money in the world, you got the most education in the world, but if you're a black man, they don't care about that. They just see that you're a black man and you have black skin.
Stuff that's recently happened, I'll say the last 4 years, as it relates to police brutality, gunning down unarmed black men, whether they're armed and carrying a concealed lawfully or not, or selling CDs outside of a store. Like, how has that affected your psyche? Like, not how do you feel about police brutality? We passed that. We know we pissed off. Every time we see it, we know that it disrupts our day. We know that every time we see it and we go to work, our white counterparts are happy and like nothing just happened on Sunday afternoon while we're upset. That part of you being upset and like, really, how does that affect your psyche as a black man, as the ability to... It's like modern day lynchings.
Yeah.
You get on Facebook, you happy, and all of a sudden you get on there and you can literally see somebody take their last breath. Like, you can literally get on there and see somebody's eyes rolling to the back of their head. Man, one time, man, whenever I think it was on Sterling, man, I was so pissed off, man. I was in Charlotte at my ex-girlfriend's house. I just had to just go to the gun range. Like, I let off 1,500 rounds because I was just like that upset. Like, I feel like I didn't want to be, my psyche didn't want me interacting with another human being. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how deep it was for me. Because it was just to the fact you just get fed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just get fed up of seeing the same old thing, right, and people not being held accountable for their actions. And it's almost like the badge protects you, and the badge is like a hall pass to go out there and do something if you feel like your life is in danger. If you feel like that black man that looks more athletic than you, you really have a fear of life. That's what they're claiming, that they have a fear of life because that black man is more athletic than you. He's taller than you. He's faster than you. He's stronger than you. So you feel as if that person is a threat,
right,
to your existence. So you feel like you have a hall pass to gun them down. Like, how does that affect your psyche as a black man into how you go about your everyday life?
I feel like it affects me the most because growing up, we were taught that, well, not taught, but shown that police were there to help us and protect us, So no matter what I feel about those few police officers, I have friends. I have a friend that's a state trooper. We went through high school together. I have another friend that's a detective in Charlotte. So I can't feel a certain way about cops in general because I know these guys personally, and they go about their jobs with a sense of ethics about it. they're black men trying to make a change. Then I have a daughter. I can't teach her to say, fuck the police.
To hate police. Hate another human being.
When there's a resource officer in her school who's nice to everybody. So you gotta kind of change your perspective. You have to understand that there's people out here who's going to do this. There's people out here who take a job. Let's get off the police. There's people out here who take a job, who got the job that you feel like they're not qualified for. That's any industry you go into. You're like, damn, how the hell did they get this job? They don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do the other. Same with police. There's police who get the job who
They don't have no business.
bullied in high school, this, that, and the other. They probably knew somebody who gave them the job. So, for me, it's just, I teach my daughter that, there's things that happen and we weren't there. I have to teach it to her this way. We weren't there, we don't know what happened, but this is what should have happened. And she understands it, but I can't teach her hate.
Right.
I gotta teach her love, no matter what, because that's gonna conquer everything else, all of the bad stuff that's going on in the world, and she's so innocent. So, for me, that's
The same thing.
I have to get rid of all of that hate that I have.
Even my uncle.
Even if I see it.
My uncle was a sheriff. He's been a sheriff for 15 years. He's one of the first black men that's been the president of the North Carolina Sheriff Association. I'm closer with this man than I am with anybody on the planet. He's the only person that knows all of my secrets. Only person that knows everything about me. Literally, the only person that knows everything about me. So when these things happen, he's the person I go to. Like, what is your perspective on this? Mm-hmm. Like, what is your interaction with your guys in your department on what mostly said to me is that individuals in this department grow up a certain way. Mm-hmm. Just like what we was talking about earlier, like how your environment affects your mentality, it affects your psyche. So these individuals grow up a certain way. They grow up seeing Tay gun down his big brother over a drug deal consistently. Mm-hmm. So if we consistently see police misuse their power and we have a misconception about them, mm-hmm. or we have a perception of them that they're also bad police. On the flip side, yin and yang, Jacob saw Tay in the neighboring neighborhood also gun down other black men. Right. So it's kind of like you can't say like you have your own opinion on it and you understand your opinion, but you also don't look at it from a devil's advocate standpoint of these individuals out here doing wrong because they grew up wrong.
Yeah, right.
Or they saw wrong.
I feel that, but nigga, fuck the police, dog. I'm being serious, cause I think we do that. That's cool. That's cute. We can even do it across industries if we want. But nobody else has a license to murder people, right? Sucking in a grocery store ain't the same thing as sucking as a police officer. I don't want to hear that. And the truth is that if our priorities are correct, right? I'm saying I don't know no good cops because I don't know no cops who arrest cops. I don't give a fuck who you arrest until you taking care of the people. I'm not worried about being robbed on the street. That just comes with life, right? Who I don't want to be murdered by is people who are supposed to protect me. If I get murdered by a robber, I'm not gonna bitch and complain about that, right?
You get murdered by a wolf in sheep's clothes.
I'm getting murdered
by somebody you trust.
Right, by somebody I trust. Nobody's saying, oh, I can't believe this fucking serial killer killed my brother. No, that makes perfect fucking sense. Yeah, can't believe this robber robbed me. Now that makes sense. I'm offended when people operate outside of what they said they were gonna do. If you're a good cop, you show me where the bad cops are. Because if you saying that you know they exist, but they not in cuffs, I don't trust you. I don't trust your judgment. Because you're saying, oh, bro, they over there. We know that they over there. I'm not doing anything about it. But you want me to trust you. That don't make good sense, right? And at the same time, I'm saying, oh, there are good ones. I don't want to hear that shit. That's like me telling you, oh, so-and-so got lynched the other day, right? And there was a big-ass crowd of white people who watched that shit. And we said, oh, all white people aren't bad. How is that productive? You tell me how that helps me, right? Because it's better for me, actually. It's safer for me to think all of y'all are murderers than it is for me to hope that you're the good one. Mm-hmm. If I'm talking to my son, I'm not saying, look, man, not all cops are bad because, there are some good ones. Because what's going to end up happening is that he's going to govern himself in a way where he should be on the defensive and he's not, right? I would much rather you get shot with your hands up than with your hands down. I want to hear that you got shot through your hands, right? Not he had his back turned because he trusted him. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm coming from a place where I've taught before, right? Taught American history, I taught world history. We've looked at these institutions through a historical lens, right? This is not just today. We even look at why police are created in the first place, why you have a police state, what policing looks like across, right? Or so if we're talking about in America specifically, right? Police start in a militia, right? There's a militia that's created to protect rich people and their things from poor people. They are commissioned by poor people. You think poor people can't start police because they can't pay them. They can't hire them. They can't give them orders, right? Rich people have the funds and the means to say, this is for you, go do this work, right? They weren't saying, hey, look, I want you to go out here and make sure that our streets are civil. I give a fuck. I got a mansion. I want you to make sure that these niggas, whoever, right, black, brown, Indian, doesn't matter, make sure they don't steal my shit, right? From a certain point, the dichotomy changes. It goes from rich and poor, right, to state and non-state. People who are commissioned by the government and people who are not. You imagine there's a natural progression. Poor people don't become government entities, right? Rich people do. The militia follows the money. So the militia stops being organized by the 7 of us who are rich and stay in this colony and starts being commissioned by the Commonwealth of Virginia. But the priority hasn't changed, right? Serve and protect is true, but what are we serving and protecting, right? I've never, as a poor person,
you serving the rich and protecting
right?
the rich.
I've never. It makes me laugh when people say shit about the cops and the cops say, "Fuck them. If you guys get in trouble, don't call us." That's funny because I've never called the cops. Bad shit has happened to me. I don't know anybody who looks like me who has called the cops for help.
Call people you trust.
I call somebody. I call your uncle. I call a cousin. We don't call the cops, nigga. Cause what's gonna end up happening, and it's happened before, right? I'm gonna call for help. You gonna gun me down, right? I'm gonna get arrested breaking into my own shit. How the fuck that happened?
Right.
So when we looking at, I've mentioned the historical context and even a broader world context, because there are countries that don't have police states.
And let me throw you
right?
a hoop too, because you got to keep in mind too. In slavery, policing came from from catching slaves. It started off like we just talked a whole hour about energy.
Right.
It started off in a negative state.
Yeah.
It started off negative. Slavery is negative. Slaves were running away for their freedom. They created this position of policing to catch slaves.